What's up, everybody? Welcome back, FPL Fantasy. I'm here with my co-host Doc. Today we're going to answer some questions that the FPL community put out when we asked for some Q&A questions for our next upcoming video. And we got a lot of answers that came through, and these are just a couple of the questions that we picked out. First off, I want to say, if you do like the content that you're seeing, make sure you like, you subscribe. Today, we are talking about and answering some double game week questions and Salah replacement questions. But before we get into it, Doc, would you like to introduce yourself?
What's up, guys? This is Dr. Welcome to another episode. Thank you for coming. Thank you for giving your comments on our Twitter accounts in order to ask your questions, and you'll see them featured in this video. And if you have any more questions, feel free to pop them up in our Twitter or in the comments down below, and we'll answer them in the future as well.
For sure, yeah. So I wanted to mention I am back in the lab with the pen and the pad. Doc heard that line earlier. It worked. So I went through and I created a ton of notes for some of our questions that came through today. You're going to see a lot of what I have on my piece of paper up on the screens. Same with what Doc had. A lot of the information that he got cultivated into his Salah replacement that he's going to go over. So without further ado, let's get into it, guys. So our first question that we had, teams to target for double game week 22. We have been talking to the FPL oracles out there. They have graced us with knowledge. Give it a second, we'll get into it. Then on top of that, we also have, when will we get the game week 22 fixtures? On Twitter, Ben Krellin said that probably about 3 to 4 days before game week 22 he expects that we'll actually get a solid idea of what double game weeks we're looking at. So here we go. This is the information that I grabbed for you guys. So some of the things that I wanted to look at is the double game week, a viable double game week to target if it does go through, and also the run rating, so your fixture run going through and past that double game week. When I was getting some of this information from Ben's stats that he had put out there, this is a much more condensed, refined version of what he had and a little bit of my thoughts. So a lot of these thoughts are thinking not necessarily just double game week 22, but all the way out till game week 27, 30. So looking at your big dogs, Arsenal, they have Tottenham, and they can also have Chelsea, Liverpool, Wolves. Some of the best defenses in the league, teams that you don't want to hold attackers for necessarily. They also have likely blanks in 25 and 27. So I decided that's going to give them about an average fixture run, because all the other game weeks that they have some really good fixtures that they can get out there and they can attack. So I would probably stay away from Arsenal. Looking then at Man City. Man City has one fixture. It's Chelsea. Chelsea have been playing big teams really well. If you look at the game from last week with Liverpool, I think we all, for at least the first half, forgot that FPL even existed. We just enjoyed football. And I think you're going to see something very similar to that again. Man City, great attacking team. But I would avoid City in game week 22 if you're planning directly for that. If you're planning out for a whole fixture run, get them. They have great fixtures. I don't think they have anybody to really possibly challenge them in their full fixture run. Going a little bit quicker now, we have Liverpool. They have an absolutely fantastic thing. Keep in mind though, Salah is out, Mane is out, so the two biggest studs that everybody would want, they're not going to be available. Then looking at Tottenham here, they have Arsenal, who have been playing really tough, but I think it's still a good fixture for them. I could see a couple goals coming from each side. Also, Tottenham has really shored up that defense, and they have a lot of really good defensive assets that we should be looking into. Their second fixture in 22 that is possible could be Leicester, Burnley, or Brighton. I'd love them to play any of those. So then their fixture run is going to be about average, because Tottenham have become such a different team under Conte now, and they still have room to grow. Chelsea has Man City and then either Arsenal or Brighton. but their fixture run is really tough. As you can see, they have a definite blank in 24, and then 25 and 27, they have potential blanks out there also. So bringing in a Chelsea asset, there's risk to it, but there's also a high level of reward depending on who you bring in. Everton, yes, no, maybe. Game week 21 has kind of been this weird void. We're still waiting for their second game to be played. I think DCL is going to be a stud. I think we all know that. Yeah, he had a bad game. He missed the pen. He missed the pen so bad he hurt Brighton owners, specifically Sanchez owners. So I think that, yes, he had a bad game, but he's still getting into that match form, getting that form down, getting that fitness down 100%. He's going to be a guy you can count on. Man United, they're figuring things out. They're going to be good. The only person that's in question on my list here is Dalit. Don't know. We can see what the official lineup is. I know that he came on as a sub. That's more than fine, but I think it was more of a save legs.
If I may interrupt here, Joe, I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka didn't do himself a lot of favors by his performance in the last game, so I can see Dalot kind of securing that right back position currently, and then it will be his position to lose. Yes, there are a lot of fixtures that Manchester have to play, and they will rotate, but I think now Dalot is pushing for the first choice right back, so at his price, it's a steal, to be honest.
For sure. I agree 100%. Watford, they have Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Burnley, or Wolves, maybe one of those three. I think Ben had mentioned in a reply on one of his threads, Burnley looks to be the most likely to be played for 22 there for the second game. Dennis isn't leaving for AFCON. I'll say this, buyers beware. I love Dennis. He is one of my three kings. We've talked about it, but keep in mind, Dennis might have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because Watford didn't release him for AFCON. So Dennis might have a chip on his shoulder and might say, you didn't help me out. Why am I going to be here to help you? I was just going to say King might be more nailed, so King might be the guy to look at. He's also cheaper. Dennis did take him over in stats, but just buyers beware on that Dennis shout out. And their fixtures are looking more average, but I put them with a slash bad just because there might be a little bit of an issue there, guys.
So we were talking before this recording about this fixture run, and I think, and I should mention to the viewers that I think their fixture run should be more average than bad. Maybe average as a yellow because it's a good average. I like their short term to medium term, which is 4 to 5 game weeks fixtures or fixture run. But yes, maybe you're taking into consideration the fixture runs for the long term. That's one. Second, I think we heard a lot of rumors about what happened with Dennis. He was substituted and taken off at halftime, and Ranieri mentioned something along the lines that he was taken off because kind of his mind wasn't into it, and Joao Pedro came on and impressed. However, before all this happens, Dennis was performing phenomenally, especially after the FPL community discussed whether who's on the wing and who's better, and Grass FC and Analytics FC. At that point of time, Ranieri decided to put Dennis as a striker and take King to the wing. So if it stays that way, and if Dennis comes back to the starting lineup as a striker, I prefer him as an option over King. But for now, as you mentioned, King is better because he feels more nailed. But if Dennis secures that position back, Dennis is better because he's going to play as the striker.
For sure. Yeah, and that's all coming from stats and Analytics FC, everyone. So that's that's what it looks
really
like.
Not. We're just talking about labels. It's really not.
No. No, I agree. No, I think that's a great analysis because definitely Dennis is sitting right in that central position. That's why he's getting a lot of these great opportunities. That's why he has overtaken King a little bit in stats there. Agree with you 100%. Now on to the next one. We have Wolves, which Wolves I would consider grabbing somebody defensively right now. Cody and Sa, they look like great defensive options, especially if you're looking for a goalkeeper. So that's kind of my rundown. So before I spend 45 minutes on the whole thing, I just felt like there was a lot of good information that has been condensed in here. Yeah, let's jump right into Salah.
So, going into the next tweet that we've gotten, Salah, if you are selling Salah, who are you getting for? And if you should sell Salah or no? I'm one of the people who still own Salah, and I'm happy for the goal he scored versus Chelsea. I kind of expected that he would score or return because Chelsea are kind of depleted. They're off form, they're not keeping clean sheets, and they have a lot of defensive problems. And Alonso plays on that side who likes to be in the opposition's penalty box. So I kept Salah for this game week. But now, I need to change him. And getting this question was perfect because I was looking into replacements already. So I prepared a table, kind of two tables. What are the options that we can look at? If you're trying to replace him for a direct midfielder, I'm gonna go down first at the midfielder table. I think Son has to be in everybody's team at this point. He's in form. He has a double coming up. He has a lot of doubles coming up. He has the form and he has the fixtures relatively. And also Jota. Jota, with the absence of Salah and the absence of Mane, is kind of guaranteed minutes. And when Jota plays, he plays very well, and he always ends up in good positions. He's registering ridiculous stats for a midfielder, and also phenomenal fixtures. So attacking returns, they're very good fixtures. You have Madison also as an option. He's in form. Yes, he might be a bit injury prone every once in a while he gets injured, but I would like him as a punt. Demare Gray, a lot of people went to Everton assets because there's the possibility of them getting a double-double. So this game week they're getting a double, and next game week they're getting a double, and they have really easy run of fixtures that of course fits Gray and DCL in the same time. So they have Norwich, Burnley, or Newcastle as a double game week, Aston Villa, and Newcastle again. He's very cheap, so you can also bench him. He will give you a benching headache, but if you would like to play someone else, he's very cheap, so you don't feel bad about benching him. I have Sancho as a punt. He's not registering great numbers, but he seems like becoming favorite for Manchester United as a starter, and they have really nice run of fixtures, as Joe mentioned in his table. So I like Sancho as a punt, but he is a punt, and he's not registering great stats, but I think he's going to be one of those players who will tick along very nicely. One of the players that I like to mention doesn't have a double game week, and he's kind of the sixth option. Foden has Chelsea at home, and then Southampton, Brentford, Norwich, despite not have double game weeks, but the team's kind of ticking with him now. The team is depending on him on the false nine position, even with KDB being here. So I like him as an option. So if you have kind of the double game weeks covered, and would you like to have to play the long-term game, Foden is a decent option. But for myself and for my team, I'm probably going for a forward, so I'm kind of moving the money into the forward position. I still haven't decided yet. I like changing the money, taking the money of Salah into Ronaldo, because Ronaldo will kind of give me a captaincy option for the double game week. He has Aston Villa away and either Brighton or Brentford at home, especially if it's Brentford at home. Ronaldo will probably be my captain for that game week, and then he has West Ham away and Burnley. You have Kane. He's not registering the best numbers. He is registering good numbers, but not the best, and he might not be in form nowadays. He scores one goal here and there. But also, if you have Son, kind of, I don't like to use the word cover, but Son kind of covers those points, and you can go to Ronaldo. I prefer Ronaldo over Kane at this point of time. Watkins, I have him in my team. He has very great fixtures in the long term, and he has easy fixtures relatively in the double game week. He has Manchester United at home. It's not a very easy fixture, but he can score one goal there or maybe get an assist. And then he has Burnley or Leeds, which is very good for attacking returns. And then Everton and Leeds again. So Watkins is an option as well. One of my favorites, although he missed a penalty literally this game week, is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's registering the best numbers per appearance. He has the lowest minutes per XGI, which is the best stat to have, to be the lowest at the lowest point, and also he's registering 3.8 attempts per match, which is on the very high side. It's actually the highest in this graph, as you see. Second is Ronaldo by 3.7, and he has very easy fixtures coming up. I know he missed a penalty. I know he's a bit rusty, but I would like him in my team maybe next game week. And the last option that I have on my graph here is King/Dennis, because as I mentioned earlier when Joe was talking about his table, that I like Dennis if he plays at the striker and if his mind is back into the game. If not, then it's King. And the stats that you see here are for King, but they have relatively easy run of fixtures for the short to the medium term. So I like those options. Joe, what do you think?
I pretty much agree with you. I think that all of them are a really good shout out. There's two that might scare me. So number one would be Foden, because he's a naughty boy. He keeps getting in trouble. So I think Foden is a good shout out because he does have good numbers, but hopefully he can get on the right track and get back into the squad as more of a regular player. The other one, I don't think that it will affect game week 22, but it is a good shout out for a whole for the fixture run would be Watkins. I know that he was out with an illness, I believe, but say he's got 2 weeks before he can really come back in and actually start working. So those were the ones that I was thinking about. Doc, I know that the tweet also mentioned, should we consider keeping Salah because they might fall out in the first round? Did you have any thoughts kind of on that?
Highly likely that Salah will go far in the tournament because the Egyptian team is very good when it comes to the African Cup of Nations. There are very good competitors as well, but he'll probably miss game week 22 and game week 23, and he'll be back for game week 24. That's the highly likely possibility, right? So I have some friends who are actually free hitting in game week 22 who have Salah in their team, and we've been discussing whether they should sell Salah in game week 23 and then they need to buy him again in game week 24. So it's a bit of a tricky situation. If you are gonna free hit in game week 22, I think you should spend some time thinking about it, whether you want to sell Salah and get him back directly at game week 24. I'm not free hitting in game week 22, probably 99% I'm not get free hitting game week 22, so I am gonna sell him in order to spread the cash around or to have a replacement for him and then bring him back around 24, 25, 26. But if you are free hitting, you need to spend some time to think and to plan because it is team specific, and I cannot tell you a definite answer on what you should do and what you should not do because it is team specific. But I think you should have a plan in place to bring him back if you sell him. And if you do not sell him, you should have a plan in place to kind of accept that he's going to be on your bench for that amount of money for being the most expensive player on the game and losing value through the game weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I was looking at kind of how Egypt has performed and the odds in the AFCON, and Egypt right now I believe is favorited to win it all. And also Egypt has performed really well against a lot of the teams, even though I think they're behind Senegal, Nigeria, and I think there's one other team that they actually...
I think the team you're looking for is Algeria because Algeria just won the Arab Cup. The Arab Cup was held recently and Algeria won it, and Egypt was involved, Algeria was involved. Although the teams kind of didn't have all their players in their starting lineup, now all the teams are asking the players to join for AFCON. But Algeria won Arab Cup, and Egypt and Algeria were part of this tournament.
Yeah, but regardless, I think Egypt definitely has it in them that they're going to do a huge run, and they're at full power now. They have Mo Salah. They're going to make a run, so I wouldn't expect them to get knocked out round one and have Mo Salah back after missing one game week. I think that's a little unreasonable. All right, everybody. So now you have an idea on your Mo Salah replacements. You have a little more data and a little bit more condensed data on the double game week 22. Hopefully that helps you kind of get a general plan or idea for what you want to do. Keep in mind, we have basically 2 weeks. A lot can happen in 2 weeks. Don't make those early transfers. And the information that I presented within the double game week can change over 2 weeks. We'll have a little bit better idea of what the actual fixtures will be. So we are going to make sure that we bring out more content over that 2 week period, bring out any information that might become available. Make sure, once again, you like, subscribe on the video, follow us on Twitter, our individual accounts, our FPL fantasy account also. So Doc, do you have anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up?
I just want to say thank you for everybody for tuning in. I hope it was helpful for them. Please give us some feedback on Twitter. We would like to hear what you think about our options and our double game week analysis. And as soon as we get more information, we'll bring you more videos. So don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, and we'll see you on the next episode.
All right, we'll see you, everybody. Peace.